Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the 2019 Nissan Pathfinder. First and foremost, this particular Pathfinder is a Rock Creek edition. It's kind of like a special edition with the 19s. It's mostly an appearance package, that being said. But as always, if you are stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. And then big shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray for providing us with the vehicle. We're gonna do a quick walk around on the Pathfinder and then we will take it out to see how it drives. Under the hood here of the 2019 Pathfinder is going to be a 3.5 liter V6 that is routed through a CVT transmission. In terms of fuel economy, you're gonna get 20 around town, 27 on the highway. And then on power outputs, it's 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. And this motor is naturally aspirated. Now we're going to finish things up front and we're going to go over to the headlights. It does have these projector bulbs. You can see the turn signals integrated there into the headlight housing as well. And then you have our fog lamps down below. And then we've got kind of like this little skid plate looking thing on the front. But the Rock Creek edition kind of adds a bunch of like blacked out appearances to it. So like the front grille, it makes that blacked out. And then the side molding here you can see on around the wheel wells is all blacked out. And then it gives you the badging on the side. Mirrors are also blacked out. Roof rails. So basically that main thing about that edition is it just basically blacks out everything on the Pathfinder. Coming over here to the side, we do get these 18-inch blacked out rims. They have a really nice design to them. And then the Rock Creek edition also gives you some all-season tires that come with this rim setup, and it's unique for this particular package on the Pathfinder. Just gonna walk by the side of the Pathfinder so you can kind of see the side profile. You do get that Rock Creek badge right there on the Pathfinder, and then just give you a rear profile of the SUV. With all these black accents, it definitely gives you SUV a much more aggressive and sportier look. Now we're out back here. Here's the key fob for the Pathfinder. So you got a couple different functions on it. You got your lock and unlock and then remote start. So if we lock the Pathfinder, and then we hold down the remote start function on it, the Pathfinder will start right up, and then you hear that 3.5 liter V6 come to life. And then if you do hold the remote start function down again, it'll shut right off. Now walking up to the back of the Pathfinder, you're gonna notice the tailgate release is right here. It is a traditional hydraulic tailgate on this particular model, but we have all of our floor mats back here, and then you do get extra storage space under there as well. Pathfinder will come with a third row, and you can actually pull these little latches here. You can see that those will help fold down the third row. Do get a little charging station back there as well. But we can look, and legroom is actually pretty good here in the third row. Most third row SUVs, it's like no legroom at all, so it's nice that they give you a little bit of space back there. Finishing things up in the back, I like the design with the blacked out look, and I like how all SUVs now, most at least, have the rear spoilers. I think that's a nice touch to them. But we can see the black accent right here, and then you get the blacked out badges with this Rock Creek edition. Receiver hitch is just right down there as well, and then more black accents on the bottom with the parking sensors integrated into the rear. So here is the door panel in the front. We do have this orange contrasted stitching with some leather as well, and then we've got our window control right here with the door handle, and it has a nice premium feel on the handle itself. We can see that we've got the seats here. You've got a cargo mode. You pull that down, the seats will fold down for you so you can throw things in the back a lot easier. But more of the leather here with the contrasted orange stitching, and then you do get these kind of like mesh inserts. These seats are specific for this Rock Creek trim. And then over here we can see we've got climate controls for the rear. We've got some little USBs, vents back there as well, and there is a ton of legroom back here. And then before we actually go into the front interior, I love the paint on this. It has a very nice white sparkle to it, but it does have keyless entry, so one touch will lock it, and then another touch that will unlock it, and then we can open up the Pathfinder here. Door panel is going to look pretty much identical to the rear, so more of that leather with the contrasted orange stitching. All of your window controls and mirror adjustment controls are going to be right there, and they've got this cool black trim here. And then again, I like the feel of the door handles. We do get power adjustable seats for the front here, and then we can see our pedal layout just down below, and then we do have some controls here. So you got your tow haul mode, and then we do have the controls for the blind spot monitoring and stability control there as well. Now stepping in, step-in height's really good since it's just an SUV. No need for running boards or anything like that. It's easy enough to get in. But to start up the Pathfinder, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start button, and then the Pathfinder will start right up. The gauges will do a little sweep. And then you see the little spinning Pathfinder right there in the center as well. Now the steering wheel here, we've got all of our controls for the adaptive cruise control on this side. And then on the other side, we have our controls for the center screen and the radio as well. You've got your volume controls, Bluetooth, and phone controls. And then you get more of that orange contrasted stitching on the steering wheel with leather around the steering wheel. It's a nice looking steering wheel with the Nissan logo front and center. Here is the center screen. We have our RPMs on the left side, and on the right side, we have our gauge for the fuel, and then you have your speedo, and then we have these little menus that we can scroll through in the center here. You see that you've got some different information when you are going like off-roading, for example, with the four-wheel drive system and how split it is. And then you can see you go through your radio, but there's a bunch of different little menus that you can basically scroll through with this little center screen. We have our center touchscreen right here, and it is a touchscreen, but then they also double up with analog buttons just right down here. So you've got little shortcuts to everything on the touchscreen right there. So for example, you can go to the apps page right here, or you see you've got info that you can go over to, climate, all that kind of stuff you can go through via the touchscreen right there. Now on the camera system side of things, just a traditional backup camera on the Pathfinder right here. So has trajectory lines right down. The receiver hitch would be in the middle if you are hooking up to a trailer, and it's actually really good image quality, so you're not going to have any issues with that, and it's going to make parking this a little bit easier. Well, now this is different. CD player here, not a lot of vehicles have that anymore, and then you have your analog radio controls down below, and then you do have your analog climate controls here, and then you do get dual zone climate for the front, so you've got technically tri-zone climate because you have that rear climate as well. And then just below we can see some charging stations here in the Pathfinder. Here is the shifter for the Pathfinder, and you can see we've got a couple different drive modes. The main one you're going to notice is going into low, so if you are doing any off-roading. But more important than this shifter is actually just below the shifter. You still have a traditional shifter to change between the different drive modes. So you have automatic mode right here. You've got lock, which will be into four-wheel lock, and then you've got two-wheel drive, get a little bit better fuel economy, and then you can see you've got hill descent control as well. We have the little center console here, and we've got more of that orange contrasted stitching with the leather, and it's cool. They've got two different tabs, so you got your lower, and that'll open up the center console fully to reveal some USBs, 12 volt and extra storage. But then you have your tab that says upper, and then you open up that, and then you get storage on top as well, so you can kind of put your phone or something in there, and then they've got little threads that you can thread cables through. And then I have not mentioned the front seats yet, but same design as the rear seats with the contrasted stitching, and then the leather with Rock Creek right here in the center on these front seats, and then the cloth mesh. And then they do have these nice bolsters, so the seats look cooler, but they're wider bolsters, so they aren't uncomfortable to sit in like a sports car would have. We've got our glove box over here, and absolutely massive actually, so you'd be able to store a ton of stuff in the glove box here in the Pathfinder. Wrapping things up on the interior on the Pathfinder, this is kind of like more of a middle of the line trim. The Rock Creek Edition is built off of the SV trim, and so for like a middle of the line package, it's actually got a really nice interior, especially with all the leather accents and all that kind of stuff that they have. But with all that being said, let's take the 2019 Pathfinder out to see how it drives. We are starting off here in the 2019 Pathfinder, and something that I actually like about this SUV is has a little bit more of an analog feel to it. What I mean by that is the fact that, it's got little four-wheel drive shifter. Most SUVs nowadays are just all-wheel drive, so the systems do everything for you, which is neat, but sometimes it's fun to be able to do some stuff by yourself. Setting off here in the Pathfinder, so far, you do get some nice engine noise into the cabin, but there is not a whole lot of road noise. It's actually pretty quiet, and suspension-wise, noticing it's pretty smooth so far. Visibility throughout the Pathfinder is really good. There's not a whole lot in terms of blind spot, and again, the blind spot monitoring that this vehicle has is going to help with that anyways, but looking all around, nothing crazy, and it doesn't have any crazy designs in the back, so that back area has a window there. It's all clear. There's no blind spot back there, which is nice. In terms of steering feel, the steering is really, really light and effortless. There's not like a whole lot of feedback or anything like that, but it's not a sports car, so who cares? Super light and effortless, but it's direct. The SUV goes right where you want it to go, so you point it and the SUV goes right there. Initial acceleration with it, This, I'm noticing a little bit more that it is a CVT compared to Nissan's transmission in some of their newer vehicles. It seems like they've kind of like cleaned some stuff up with the transmission, so there's gonna be some bumps here. But yeah, so I'm noticing a little bit more with the gear shifts on this. And like I just said prior, ride quality on this is really smooth. I mean, even at higher speeds, it stays really smooth. But the fact that this is actually more capable off-road with stuff like the hill descent control, and I mean, it is called the Rock Creek Edition, so hopefully it's going to be a little bit better off-road than a normal SUV. We are going to get a little acceleration right here with this 3.5 liter V6. Yeah, that's, like I said, definitely noticing a little bit more that it is a CVT, but acceleration's good for this SUV, and I don't really feel the need that I would need more power or anything like that. To sum things up, this is, you know, in the SUV category of third row SUVs, it has a solid towing capacity, and so a lot of people are on the market for that because you want something that can do truck stuff, but then you also need to have a third row so you can carry around more people. This is in that category, and if you are on the market for an SUV like that, you got to check out one of these Pathfinders. It's such a strong name in this SUV category, and it still lives up to the old Pathfinder with, you know, how cool they used to be in this Rock Creek Edition. Looks absolutely fantastic. And there we have it, everyone, the 2019 Nissan Pathfinder. And then as always, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you are stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then a big shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray for providing us with the vehicle. If you're on the market for a new Nissan, like I said before, definitely check these guys out. They will get you a great deal on one. But I will see all of you in that next video.